You're watching Through the Looking Glass with Dr. Jenny Klein.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jenny Klein, and I've missed you, so we're back with a new show for us all. It's about our feelings, fears, and fantasies, our pain and our pleasure, our problems and our solutions. It's a time for us to get together and think things over, talk things over, and find out that we're not alone. Perhaps then we can all make this world and our lives just a little bit better. Did you ever wonder about why people seem not to hear what you say and not respond to what you're talking about? Let's take a closer look at just that issue. Hey.
Hi, Dr. Klein.
Hi, Susie. What's the matter?
Well, I'm here because I think I'm crazy.
Really? Who thinks that of you?
Well, I'm finding that, I don't know, that the people around me, I speak and they don't know what I'm saying. And I'm wondering if I'm just not communicating clearly or if I see things differently. But it seems like I am talking about the reality of the situation and they don't see the reality of the situation. They don't see it.
Well, there's lots of reasons for that, but it's not because you're crazy.
No, but I see it, but they don't see it. And then I try to approach it a different way, and they still don't see it. It's almost like I'm speaking Japanese and they're speaking Chinese.
Well, the content of their brain is totally different than the content of your brain. And when you say something like pajamas, they might have had a terrible fire in their bedroom and burned up in their pajamas and got scarred. So they don't want to go there. That's all buried in their unconscious. So when you say pajamas, they ignore it because they don't want to. Something you say might trigger in their unconscious mind a terrible feeling from their past. Has nothing to do with what you're saying. And they avoid it and they talk about something else. They don't hear you because it's connected to some pain within them. Does this make any sense to you?
Everybody I know?
Well, everybody? Don't you have a friend who hears what you say?
Yeah.
Oh, so people are different, so it's not you that's crazy. I understand what you're saying.
Well, I find that my girlfriends get me. They understand me when I speak.
That's why you're
They hear. It's clear.
That's why you stay friends with them, because
Right.
you can communicate.
But there are other people who...
Oh, that's when you're crazy. When you have people who can't hear what you're saying because of their own internal connections. So you assume you're crazy because you're saying it, then you assume that there's nothing in between what you say and the electrical wiring inside their head.
Dr. Klein, when I speak to someone and I can almost put my hand like this in front of their face, and they're not there, you know?
Well, they go someplace else.
It's like the book is over here, and I'm saying the book is over there, and they're going, what book?
Well, that doesn't...
The book. You know, the book? It's right over there.
Why do you think you're crazy? Because you can't make someone get what you're saying?
Well, isn't communication, part of it is the person who is speaking, and the other part is the person who is
receiving.
Listening.
But they're listening through a filter. And the filter is their unconscious mind. If anything you say happens to remind them of their burning pajamas or something, then they're going to be in a paralytic state of yesterday, and they're not going to hear what you're talking about. That's not because of you. That's because of the wiring inside. Let me ask you a question. We just had a power thing, right? Mm-hmm. I found myself flipping the switch even though I knew the power was off. Did you find yourself doing that too?
Yeah, I guess it's a habit. You just go in and you just flip it on. And
I asked everybody I knew, and they all did the same thing.
Yeah, because you're just so used to doing that.
Well, it's more than that. You never had any more power than flipping the switch, because you have no power over the unseen electrical impulses behind the walls or the electrical places that supply you with energy. You never had power over that.
No.
But you did have the connection between flipping the switch and seeing the lights come on.
Right.
And you don't, it's like when you say book to a person, it hits their brain, and the unseen wires of their past experiences and associations to whatever words you say is a very fast process in the mind, in their unconscious, blocks anything that has pain associated with it. It has nothing to do with what you're saying. It's nothing to do with you. It has to do with the wiring in their head as to why they can't hear you. Because it's painful. Even if you're talking about a book. Somebody hit them on the head with a book when they're 4 and they were powerless. And the book does a scan in the brain very fast, very, very fast in your brain. And you don't know the wiring that's underneath their skull as to why they don't get what you're saying. And you think you're crazy. You're right. You're wrong.
Well,
Are you getting that?
Yeah, I think, but I'm just so frustrated because,
Sure.
and sometimes I try to express myself louder because I'm thinking, well, maybe I wasn't clear enough. So then when I get louder and I get frustrated and I get more worked up over it, then it really doesn't go through.
Well, no, because you're saying the same word that's stimulating something you have no idea what it is in their memory, in their brain from their entire life, that they're blocking taking in what you're saying because it's triggering something that's associated with some pain inside their head. You have no power over that at all.
So how do you live with people like this?
Oh my God, are you living with someone like that?
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, when you were a little girl, did you ever speak to one of your parents or a grandparent and they didn't get what you were saying and they didn't respond?
Oh, all the time. My mother had no...
Really?
It was all about my mother. You know, she... Not that it was about her in a, you know, a selfish way. You know, she wasn't, you know, like looking in the mirror or buying things for herself.
But she didn't hear you.
No, well, it was like...
Disconnection?
No, it was never, what would you like? It was, you're going here, we're doing this, you're wearing that. No, you can't get that coat. No, you can't do this. You know, it wasn't, well, what would you like? Or I didn't have any say in anything. Well, I really don't want to do that. And there would be no response to that. No response.
No response to your wants and what you're saying.
Oh, no, and you couldn't ever say anything nice about yourself.
Really?
Yeah, like, wow, I did a good job with that. Oh.
Don't be so proud.
Yeah.
Okay, so that your mother also is ruled by her past, which governs how she responds to you and doesn't respond to you. And as a little kid, she's very big and knows everything, you think, and you think there must be something wrong with me because I can't get through to my mother. She's not hearing my wants and my opinion or my issues.
Well, she's the one that I'm talking about because she does live with me, and it's been all my life.
Well, then you assume there's something wrong with you in a conversation that there's another whole person with a whole bunch of wiring in her head which dictates what she hears and how she can respond to your wants and your thoughts. And you think you're crazy because your mother doesn't understand you. And when you're 3 years old, mother seems to know how to do everything. So you think it's your fault that she doesn't get you.
So that's why I think it's my fault when I have these other people.
Yeah, not your friends, the other people.
Now, someone...
Same belief.
Say someone else, say my friend Mary, you know, wouldn't feel this way about people not getting her and not responding.
No, she maybe had a different history, and she feels she confuses her history with people in the present because this part of the mind processes things very fast. 90% of your brain is unconscious, 10% is conscious. And there's a woman named Candace Pert who wrote a book called Molecules of Emotion. She did a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? And in that movie she had two quantum physicists calculate the speed of processing, like your hard drive, searching for something, in your unconscious mind as opposed to your conscious mind, the one you're aware of. And in your unconscious mind it's like a storage, like your hard drive in your computer. It collects everything you put in there. So does your brain. And it processes information at 400 million synapses, the gap between the neurons in your brain. But your conscious mind only processes 12 or 14,000 synapses a second, which is the gap between the neurons, the wires of your brain. So therefore, everyone's unconscious is going to do a search when you speak, and you're going to say pajamas, and they're going to think of being burned. And they're going to refuse the pain. They're going to refuse you're not going to recognize and not pick up your words.
So how do any of us communicate?
Poorly. Mostly.
You know, if you're saying hello to someone and they have a bad experience with someone who said hello to them.
And conk them on the head with a stick, right?
Yeah.
So they go, you're a bad person. And you think, I was being friendly. Why are they having a negative reaction?
Yeah.
Because it's coming from the past, not the present. But people are not informed about that. So,
because I would always say, you know, well, this is the reality. And they'd say, well,
Whose
that's
reality?
your reality. So it was a question of, you know, I'm saying something and they're saying, well, that's your reality. That's not my reality. I said, no, that's, you know.
that's a fact.
You know, you hurt my feelings. That's a fact. You know, well, that's your reality. I didn't hurt your feelings.
Yeah, because I'm a perfectly good girl. I never did anything wrong. I'm going to preserve some perfect image of myself, and therefore, if you have hurt feelings,
It's my
I
problem.
didn't do it.
It's my problem. You know, so everything becomes my problem.
If you buy into that, yes.
I don't know.
You know, the thing is that this is not a world that's very aware of their own brain or other people's brain. So if I say cowboy to you, how do you think of that? Is it a good feeling, a bad feeling?
I think of my little brother in a little cowboy suit.
Okay, you know, your eyes just went up like that. Your eyes are part of your brain, so you're really searching your hard drive. Did you see a picture of your little brother? Mm-hmm. When's the last time you thought of him in the cowboy suit?
Very long time ago. He
That's
must have been 4 years old.
That picture came up at, don't believe me, believe you. That picture came up at 400 million synapses a second. That's how fast the processing of your unconscious mind goes on. You brought up a picture you haven't thought of in years.
Mm-mm.
But you experienced that. So that's your... And if I say to you, what was the first toy you ever had?
I think it was a Tiny Tears doll.
See, your eyes are rolling around, which
Yeah.
means you're doing a search. Your
Because I
eyes are part of
remember,
your-
you know, I
A
don't
tiny
remember the first.
tears?
Tiny Tears.
What color hair?
It didn't have any hair.
Oh, didn't have any hair. Did you see a picture of that?
Yeah.
When's the last time you thought about that? That's 400 million synapses a second. Your brain did a search like the hard drive. You put something in 20 years ago, you push the button, it's right on your screen in a second. That's how your brain processes things. People don't know that. So that when you speak to someone, they're doing an automatic search. Their brain's automatically searching the meaning of what you're saying. Someone's hit them on the head with a book. They didn't hear you said, they don't want to know about your book. Because it's associated with pain. You didn't do that to them. That was in their mind. That's how the mind works. People don't know that. That's why I talk to them. I didn't know that at one time, and then I learned about it. But then I learned more from this woman who wrote this book and had these quantum physicists calculate the speeds. But that explains a lot of misunderstanding between people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you get it?
maybe that's
Now you
why-
think you're crazy now?
No, but that's
Good.
I have a sister, and we just can't communicate at all. She's 10 years younger than I am, and I think I'm really being honest with her about everything, about my recollection of growing up, about where I am right now, about things that are going on in my life, good things, bad things. And for some reason, she just doesn't make that connection with me. She thinks that my life is so easy and that that she has it harder in some way, and that what I tell her, it's like she doesn't believe what I tell her.
Well, she's still a little kid, and you're 10 years older than her. When she was 3, you were 13. You knew how to skate. You knew how to ride your bicycle. She was 3 years old. She couldn't do very little, and so she probably thought you were the cat's meow because you knew everything. You could do everything. You could walk faster than her, and so that she thinks there can't be any problem you would ever have. You seem to have all the answers and all the know-how. So she grew up with this delusion about you because she was 3 and you were 13.
So do you think that...
And now she can't believe when you say anything, oh, this is a problem for me. That's not how I experienced you at 3 years old. You were a 13-year-old giant. Get it?
Yeah, but...
She has no room for you other than all the positive
And she doesn't
things.
like me because of that.
Well, then if she compares her imaginary wish for being as big as you with her reality, she's only 3. But I can imagine I'm big as you, and I'm mad at myself for not being as big as you, because in my imagination I am. So instead of hating myself, I'm going to get mad at you.
And she thinks
I don't
that
like you.
I should be there for her all the time.
Well, sure.
That's my job.
Well,
to
that
be
was
there
your.
for her.
Well, didn't you look after her when she was little?
Yeah, I guess I did, but I'm a human being too.
Oh,
And-
no, you're a god. 3 years old looks at a 13-year-old and they see a giant.
But she's 51 years old now.
Yeah, but you're talking about now, but I'm talking about all those things in the past that comes up at 400 million.
So she thinks of me. So how do I communicate with her? Do I say, you're back at 3 and you're
She wouldn't know what you're talking
thinking
about.
I'm 13?
No.
And, how am I supposed to get through to this person? The reality is she's not nice to me. That's the reality. And when I say
Well,
something
it's
to her, she goes, what's the matter with you?
It's easier for her to be angry at you than angry at herself for being smaller than you and not as powerful and not know as much.
Well, I don't know. I must have a lot of people in my life who are angry at themselves and pointing it at me. Because
That's
I
a basic
find
principle,
that,
Kim.
I don't know how I could, upset so many people.
Susie, that's a basic principle of the mind. That people can be angry at themselves, and it hurts to hate yourself, so you're going to be angry at somebody else instead. It's called projection. Instead of shooting myself, I'm going to shoot you. It hurts less.
I know, but how
Hurts
do
me
you know,
less.
How do you know, Dr. Klein, if you're really not doing something to get people angry with you? How do you know if...
Yeah, you must have flipped the switch wrong, and all the electricity went off. It's your fault. How they respond isn't your fault. It's a function of who they are in their head.
I know, but how do you know that you're not doing something and you're not aware of it? Just like they are back when they were 3 years old. How do I know I'm not back where I'm 3 years old and I'm not owning something that I'm doing?
That's a good question.
That's what's so crazy making. I think I know, but every time you hear somebody saying, well, I know the right way. That's always a clear indication that they don't know anything.
Yeah, but you know what? It
So how do you
sounds to me,
trust?
you walked in here with, I think I'm crazy. Your tendency is not to project the anger to someone else, but to put it towards yourself. And you say, something's wrong with me because they can't get me. What's wrong with me? Because if I was good enough, they would get me. Despite whatever's behind the walls in their electrical head. The fact is that you walked in here saying, I think I'm crazy. Your first thing, now your sister would never say that. She would say, oh, my sister, she's crazy. But you walked in putting yourself down. Some people walk around putting everybody else down so they can avoid their self-hate. That's why when you ask the question, how do I know that I'm not doing this?
Right.
It's the same questions, it's the same as the statement, I think I'm crazy, because you're busy putting you down. Because if you did it right, then she would be able to respond. She has a totally different brain than you. She does different things with what you say than you do with what she says. You think you're crazy because she doesn't get you. Intellectually, you kind of think differently, but you're quick to put yourself down. She's quick to put you down.
Right.
You're different. You have a different system going on. She'll identify with who she should be. You'll identify with the powers you don't have, like getting your sister to hear you.
We have this ongoing...
Is this helping?
Yeah, but what do I do with my relationship with... How do I have a relationship with her?
What do you mean relationship? How many people are there in that?
Well, the two of us.
Oh, I see. What do you have control over? Your brain or hers?
Just mine.
Oh. Now your question was, what do I do with the relationship? Well, you're doing a good thing. You're talking about it.
Yeah,
and
but
if you understand her system inside,
yeah,
then you can say what you cannot think you're crazy so fast, but you can realize that whatever you say, she has to be better than you. So she has to put you down. That's not because you did anything wrong. That's because she should be
but
the
what
older
kind of
sister.
relationship is that?
Not much.
I want a good relationship with my sister. I want to be close.
Takes two people. Bring her in.
Are you kidding?
She wouldn't come.
No way. There's nothing wrong with her.
Well, she's perfect in every way. She's had a hell of an imagination. She imagined she was 10 years, she was the older sister, and you were the younger one. So there's nothing wrong with her, so she wouldn't come.
But how do I have a relationship?
You're not going to.
I know, but she's my sister. I have two brothers, the same thing.
Are you the oldest of the family?
Yes.
Oh.
So I think, okay, I have two brothers and a sister, and I think that I want to have a good relationship with them. So I've tried. I've had them over. I babysat their children. I always sent Christmas cards. I sent gifts. I always showed up for everything. And my brother I haven't seen in a long time. My other brother calls when he needs something.
So you're the giver, then the
and my
taker.
sister doesn't think that I'm too terrific.
You're the giver, and they're the taker. They expect from you to compete, to be the way you always were. Don't expect anything from them. They don't have to call. They don't have to visit. They don't have to remember
but I guess
your
they
birthday.
don't want to have a relationship.
It's not even a want. It's something that's automatic that they get from you, and they never thought of giving back, unfortunately. Your friends don't do that.
Not my good friends.
Right? Well, I guess your brother and sister aren't your good friends.
So what do? I can't get a new family. How do I have a close relationship with people like this?
When you learn, when we're talking about this is the way it makes me feel when they this and when they that.
Right.
Then when you go into that and you say, no matter what I did, it wasn't enough because they never returned anything.
Right.
And that's how you're feeling.
Right.
When we have our next session and we do this more, you'll wind up writing them a letter.
What will I say?
The things that you've learned.
And how?
We're not there yet.
Oh.
And then you'll write them a letter when you have a real good, deep understanding of them and you. Okay? I'll see you next week. Okay?
Okay, that was a lot to talk about. I don't know.
You don't know. You're a little anxious, huh?
Yeah. Can you give me something to work on?
Yes, I'll give you a book to read, okay? It's called How to Get Free. It's a book I wrote. It's very simple, but there's other wonderful books. Compassion and Self-Hate, Ted Rubin. The Angry Book, Ted Rubin. Horney's books, and it doesn't quite do the time thing, but it tells you what we build in our mind that puts us down or we put other people down because we're identifying with some infinitely perfect person who's given everything by their older sister.
Okay, so what you're saying to me, Dr. Klein, is that I do have some things to work on. I need to work on understanding what...
That it isn't your fault that the kids you were so nice to aren't returning the favor.
That wasn't my fault.
And you're not crazy.
What would have happened if I were not a nice sister to them? What would have happened?
It depends what they did with that. They could take it as their fault and keep coming to you hoping that you'll like them, or they could be angry at you.
No, it seems like I'm the one who's going to them, hoping that they like me.
We're going to continue this next week, okay? I want you to think about it and write down your thoughts, all right?
So you want me to get a book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay? I'll write it down for you.
Okay, you'll give me the name?
I sure will. Okay. And now I would like to take Susie and introduce her for who she really is. My wonderful colleague, Carol Dorley.
Hi.
And the reason you could do this with no editing, no script, no nothing, is because you're a therapist, right?
That's right.
And you understand this stuff.
Yes, I do.
I hope that was helpful to you. And I want to thank you for watching. Thank you very much, Carol, doing the show.
That was fun.
It was a great role. And thanks a lot for watching, saying hello when I'm bopping around town. And I just want you to know that if you have any ideas for a show, please drop me a line, get a pencil, and the address is down there. And if you want to go on my website, it's drjenniklein.com. My camera guy said, I got to remember to tell you that, so I did. Kaz Beelan, wonderful fella. And anyway, just keep, if you have any ideas for a show, write them to me. If you have any questions, please do. Get a pencil and let's hear from you. In the meantime, you be really good to yourself and just keep looking through the looking glass. Bye-bye.
Dr. Jenny Klein would love to hear from you. Email her, jennyklein@gmail.com, or give her a call at 908-722-2933. If you'd like to see more, feel free, just go to drjennyklein.com.